Hi, everyone. I'm Carly.
And I'm Sophia.
And this is Away She Goes, a podcast from girls who travel.
Each episode will help you feed your wanderlust with travel tips, stories, inspiration, and more. Away she goes.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Away She Goes. Today, I am joined by Brooke Schoenman, who's going to talk to us about a really popular topic, which is how to pack ultralight. So, Brooke, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself and tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, thank you for having me, Carly.
Of
It's
course.
fun to be able to talk about my favorite thing, packing light. um, I run a site called Her Packing List, and I actually started that site back in 2010, believe it or not. So I've been talking about packing for a very, very long time, um, and that has evolved over the years to talking about packing ultralight, like really helping women to just ditch that excess baggage so that they can enjoy their travels a little bit more. But besides that, we'll talk more about business. I live in Sydney, Australia, and I'm originally from Central Illinois. So, big change.
Oh,
I
yeah.
moved here about 15 years ago after doing
Wow.
some traveling, and I didn't leave. So, it's
Amazing.
that good. Yeah.
Amazing. Let's do this. All right. So, one big thing is this is obviously a very popular topic, a very much needed topic. Why do you think that people feel the need to overpack? Because we do, like, I'm an overpacker. I will admit to it. I will own up to it. I try to not be, but obviously people do. So, what is it that you think compels people to feel like they need to overpack?
There's a lot of different reasons, but I think for the most part, it really comes down to worry and anxiety about heading out into the unknown
Mhm.
and and just not really knowing what to expect. And you're getting outside your comfort zone. And that's hard for people to do something different. And to just feel like they're going to be okay. So it's also kind of like a lack of confidence, I guess, as
Mhm.
well, that goes along into that whole thing. So that's the biggest reason I find is just that worry and anxiety about heading out to a place that you're not familiar with. And then
Yeah.
maybe not knowing what's going to happen when you're on your trip and then being like, oh my gosh, if I don't have the perfect thing, I'm not going to be okay.
I was going to
So
say
that's,
that leads
yeah.
into how, people struggle. Like, even me, I know I overpack, but I still do it. And it's one of those things where, like, I'm traveling for 4 days and I brought 12 t-shirts. Like, why? I don't need that. Why do I need to do that?
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I think perfectionism is another thing. It's it's kind of expecting that you will be able to tell the future or that you should know exactly what's going to happen, how the weather is going to be every single day, or yeah, just wanting to have the perfect thing for every situation when in actuality you might already have something that is good enough in your bag, out of the
Mhm.
smaller choice of items. Yeah.
Yeah. What have you seen in your experience? What would you say is the most overpacked item, if there is one?
Yeah, that's tough. I don't
I
think
know.
there's any like one specific thing. I think for some women, it's shoes. Like that's a really hard one. It is hard,
Mhm.
but that's one where people are like, "Oh my gosh, I have to have all these different types of shoes so that it's perfect for every situation." And so that's one thing. Overpacking clothes in general, obviously, maybe underwear. Maybe
Okay.
underwear is something that
Okay.
people overpack, but it's a small thing. But, I think a lot of people are like, I'm just going to pack 14
All
pairs
of
for a
them.
7-day trip. Yeah. I'm just going to throw in as
Okay.
much as I can. Yeah. And then for a lot of people, it is that the toiletries, the beauty items.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And yeah, that's a
It's
really big one.
it's crazy. The 2 things you mentioned are the 2 things that I, like, barely pack at all. Like, if I'm going on a trip, I will pack 1 pair of I will, like, wear the sneakers that I'm wearing on the airplane with very few exceptions while I bring, like, more shoes on a trip. I I try to avoid checking bags, that's why. Because every time I check my bag gets lost or delayed, so I just try not to.
Right.
So I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah. No, it's
if it's not going in the carry-on, it's not coming with us.
yeah, good. That's a good habit to be in. And you're already winning, I think, if you don't have to worry about those. I think a lot of people, they will also it's all the just in case items,
Mhm.
all those
Yeah.
just in case little fluffy bits that
Yep.
take up the space and they add up. Some comfort items as well. Um, I guess for some people, it might be entertainment. It might be, having the perfect like lounge wear, having all the accessories that, slippers, people pack slippers, robes,
Mhm.
I'm at like all the things. It
Everything.
depends. It varies by person. So would you say it's clothing for you then that takes up the
Mine is I'm very much I need to have all the different shirt options, all the pants, I'm not so bad. Shirts. Like
shirts?
pants, I'm like, okay, we can get by with like, depending on how long the trip is. Like we don't need as many pants per day of the trip necessarily, kind of. It's mine is
Hmm.
more, yeah, like shirt, like daytime outfits for sure.
Mm. Hmm.
And
Okay.
toiletries too, I tend to go pretty light one because if I'm not checking a bag, which normally I do not, I can't put too many toiletries in there anyway. And two, I figure like, okay, my hotel will have shampoo and conditioner and body wash. Like those things I tend to not bring with me.
I feel like you're just like one step away
I'm
from
trying,
being a
no, I'm
light
like,
packer.
I'm
Seriously, you're
trying.
like the way what you're telling me. You're like one little tweak and then you'll
Uh,
just hit it.
It'll be
Yeah.
good. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully I'm gonna learn from this as well. So
All
earlier you
right.
mentioned her packing list. Can you tell us more about this? How did it get started?
Yeah, her packing list is a site that helps women to pack light and travel confidently. And I started that back in 2010. It's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as a place to kind of share packing lists and gear reviews and just, all the things that can help women to get ready for their big trips. Because I felt like packing and getting ready for those big getaways, like that was just as much a part of the whole experience as
Mhm.
actually going on the trip. So I kind of built a resource around that. Actually, it started out as a newsletter, believe it or not.
Okay. That's how Girls Who
um,
Travel was kind of too. It was a blog and then it grew
yeah,
into the Facebook group. Yeah.
yeah. So it was a newsletter as part of an add-on for my personal travel blog, and then I was like, no, these topics need to be on a website, and
Mhm.
that birthed that. And then over the years, it's kind of evolved into like not just packing light, but like kind of really ditching all that excess baggage, like
Mhm.
just getting rid of the fluff.
Yeah.
And then it's evolved into classes and courses, and that's basically where I'm helping people now is like through my ultralight packing class and the membership that you can get in after.
So I think a big question that a lot of people have when it comes to packing light is, do you need to buy certain things to pack ultralight? Like if you go to Walmart, you see they have like a whole travel section where they have like little mini toothpaste and little mini dental flosses and mouthwashes and like all that kind of stuff. So electronics, that kind of thing. Like, do people really need to go out of their way to get those things, or is anybody really able to do it without too much prep?
Um, You can do it, like, without going out and buying a bunch of things because, like you said, depending on where you're staying, you might have toiletries almost already taken care of at your hotel or your accommodation. So, you don't necessarily have to go out and buy anything new. You can pack super light right now. It just comes down to identifying the things that make or break you being able to travel,
Mhm.
right? And then leaving everything else behind. Now, there are things that you can buy that are going to make it more comfortable for you and make it easier for you to pack light, but you can start right now just by, you know, leaving extra things behind and leaving behind like the extras of something. So instead of 14 pairs of underwear, five.
Right.
So that sort of thing. Like, um, and even when I run my packing class, I tell people when they come in, I'm like, you don't have to buy anything new to do this class. Make use of what you have right now and identify the areas where buying something new is actually going to benefit you and then
Mhm.
invest in them over time. I don't want people to go out and feel like they have to buy like all the gear because they saw a video online of someone packing and had all these fun gadgets and all this like extra like fancy travel clothing. You don't necessarily, need to get all that. It might not benefit you in the same way. or
Mhm.
benefit you at all, just weigh you down. So just yeah, starting with what you have, making changes in that way, I think is a good first step. And then making investments in those, certain little containers for
Mhm.
your toiletries is going to be helpful.
Yeah.
And certain clothing is definitely going to be more helpful than others.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I feel like some of them are pretty obvious, but what are some benefits to packing ultralight and being able to travel that way?
Yeah, well, obviously, saving money is a big one that everyone would talk about, just not necessarily having to pay for luggage. Some airlines are making you pay for just carry-on luggage these days. So if
Mhm.
you can get down to a personal item, you're really winning. And you're going to start, saving, $70 per trip. That adds up when you're going on several trips a year or when one trip is multiple flights.
Mhm.
You won't have to pay for anyone to help you with your luggage. You can save money just by being able to walk places that you couldn't if you had a ton of luggage with you. And besides money, it's, just less stress. It's less stuff to manage. It's less stuff to babysit. I
To get
always talk about this.
lost.
Oh my gosh, and to get lost. Oh my goodness. But I always think back to like all the times when I'm going on a trip and I had to be like, okay, the first thing I have to do is figure out what to do with my bag. I can't do anything else on this trip until this bag is safe
Mhm.
somewhere else. And you might be babysitting it while going to the bathroom or, just all those time sucks. Like it steals your time,
Mhm. It does.
steals your travel
It
experience
does.
time.
Yeah,
And yeah.
I'm typically very anti checking bag because Murphy's Law applies itself to my life. And like
Oh no.
I'm thinking of like, okay, so last February, almost a year ago, I went to Vietnam. Girls who traveled did a trip. We went to Vietnam. And I always just typically what I do is I travel with like a carry-on size roller bag and a backpack as my personal item. And I can fit everything I need in those two vessels. When I booked my flights, my best friend was going with me. We booked with Qatar Airways and didn't realize that Qatar Airways has a really, really great checked bag policy. Like they give you like 2 free checked bags or something ridiculous,
Oh,
but
wow.
their carry-on is one personal item that cannot exceed 15 pounds, and
Yeah.
then, like, a woman's purse, and so, like, a couple weeks before our trip, we realized, like, "Oh, like, I can't bring my rolling carry-on because it weighs 7 pounds. Like, that's half of my weight, and my best friend and I, like, put our heads together, and we're like, "We are not checking bags. It's not happening, we're not doing it." So, we're like, "How the hell are we gonna do this?" So, we went on Amazon and we bought these like lightweight, like they kind of look like a duffel bag and a backpack hybrid. We each bought one of those. And then because they said we could have a purse, we went to Target and bought like the biggest purse we could find. It's like a tote, it looks like a tote bag, but it's a purse. And we basically both put as much as we could into both of those things. And that is how we survived for 2 weeks in Vietnam because we would not
See?
check a bag. See, I am there.
No,
I'm pretty
you're
much there.
you're you're in it, you've done it, and that's, like, a big part of the whole process is literally giving yourself that challenge and saying, "This is the challenge, and I'm going to accept it," and just
Mhm.
doing it,
I did
and
it.
you will figure out how to make it work. But if you're not changing up the bag, like that's my first tip for packing lighter is change up the
The
bag,
bag.
go smaller. If you don't change your boundary, you're never going to bring less stuff because if you have that spare space in your bag, you cannot leave it.
No, you're gonna
You
put stuff
cannot
in
leave it
there.
empty. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the first step. Choose a smaller bag, use it as your boundary, and really just see it as a problem to be solved instead of something holding you back.
Yeah, we were determined. We were so stubborn. I was like, "I'm not." And then, on the contrary, I just a few weeks ago got back from a safari in Africa for 2 weeks, and I was trying my normal, like, carry-on backpack, and it was just too much. I was like, "Okay." Like, I needed a big thing of bug spray. I had to check a bag. It was whose bag do you think got delayed for 3 days in Kenya? Mine did. So I'm like,
Oh
"See,
no.
this is why I don't check a." I had to, but I was
Mm,
like, "See, this is exactly what happens every time I try
mhm.
to, like, check a bag." So, that's
Yeah,
why I
yeah.
don't do it.
There are some trips where you're going to need more, like,
And I did,
obviously.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe just yeah, having a backup plan for your cabin baggage. Yeah, in that situation. Yeah.
And I did. I packed my backpack with a couple of spare outfits, all meds, all toiletries, all electronics. So when my big bag was delayed, I had outfits and stuff. It was tight,
Yeah.
but it worked. And
Yeah.
then I got it back and I was like, okay, like I had everything I needed, but it was just frustrating.
Yeah. The waiting.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
fun.
To wondering like, hey, I'm in Zimbabwe and my luggage is in Kenya. Like hopefully it shows up here like when it's supposed to
Mhm.
eventually, you know?
Mhm.
All right, so let's get into some other tips. We've already touched on some. How much do you sacrifice comfort or style to pack ultralight? Like obviously we talk about kind of confining your space, kind of making sacrifices and picking and choosing. So does somebody really have to sacrifice any comfort or any style to be able to pack ultralight?
I don't like to look at it as sacrifice. I like to look at it as compromise. I'm trying
Okay.
to find compromises. So I'm trying to figure out how can I have something that gives me the same sort of outcome, but in a different way. So yeah, in that way. So I don't know. I don't feel like it's a sacrifice anymore, really, because it's so
Mhm,
normal.
mhm,
And I think it's all relative. And for a lot of people listening right now who are, packing maybe checked in or, heavy carry on less person, that sort of thing, they're going to be like, no, no, that's a sacrifice. But um, in terms of like style, I know what I feel comfortable in, and
mhm,
I'm very clear on what makes me feel like me, and I might go away and have to rewear several outfits that look the same, but if I feel comfortable in them, it's not an issue for me, and if I'm wearing the same things that I'm wearing in my daily life because most of my wardrobe now is made of things that are travel friendly, it's it's not a sacrifice. It's
mhm,
just the same, I'm just bringing less of it. So I don't know. And there are times when you might feel maybe a little bit less than your best or less like you might feel a little more underdressed than maybe the people around you. Like I get that. I understand that those situations come up, but I also have to just, remind myself there's a reason why I'm doing this. I weigh the cost and it's like,
mhm,
no, I'm actually gaining so much more by just being a little bit maybe uncomfortable in this like short time frame.
mhm,
And another thing I've realized is that in those times when I feel maybe a little less than my best,
mhm.
it's not really because of the clothes I'm wearing. It's because I might be exhausted. I might not have gotten a good night's sleep. I might be overwhelmed. Maybe I need to eat dinner or something like that. So
Yeah,
it's really
there's
like,
there's other
yeah, there's some
factors.
yeah, and if I went home, or went back to the accommodation or had a really nice dinner, a good sleep, and washed my hair, the next day I'm feeling like myself again.
Absolutely.
It's more than just your clothes, but I get how, it's a hard
It's a
hard
hard
one to wrap your head around
It
sometimes.
is.
Yeah.
It definitely can
Mhm.
be, and for me, it's definitely been and I'm not at the ultralight, maybe Vietnam was ultralight, but I'm not fully at the ultralight yet, but I'm almost, like, we've said, I'm almost there,
Ye
and it's been a process for me to go
yes.
from checked bag, bringing everything I want to not. But, like, when
Yeah.
I drive places, you should see. I when I my best friend, when I went to Bar Harbor last summer, I brought, like, the biggest suitcase I own. We were there for, like, 4 days, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "We're driving. I can bring whatever I want." Like, I'm driving I'm in upstate New York. I'm driving to Florida for Christmas to see my cousins. Same thing, driving. I'm gonna bring the biggest suitcase I own because I can. I
Right.
don't have to sacrifice this time or compromise. I'll use it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Um,
But you have dipped your toe in that
I have.
ultralight
I have.
and it's possible. And
It
what you could
is.
look at is how do I just improve on that? I've
Mhm.
done this, then I can make improvements. And then the more you do it, it's just like flexing a muscle. It just becomes easier every time you do it.
Absolutely.
More sec yeah.
What would you say is a good first step? I know we talked about buying a smaller suitcase, a smaller bag, but what would you say is a good first step for somebody who wants to pack either ultralight or even just kind of start transitioning into packing lighter?
Yeah. Yeah, the smaller luggage is like really good. So if you can
Mhm.
go with smaller luggage, that's a good first step. Another thing is for some people, it's really helpful to just track what you wear at home
Oh,
and
okay.
how often you wear the same thing in like a 2-week time frame.
Yeah.
Because you might feel very like surprised by how few items you're using in your daily life.
Do I
That's a
need
good
these
one.
10 shirts? No. No, I
No,
don't.
I've been
No, I
wearing
don't.
like the 4 on
The same
repeat,
4.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So just being aware of your habits, like, at home, and then staying true to yourself when you're actually packing your bag. Like,
Mhm.
"No, no, I'm not like that. I gravitate towards this anyway, like, just bring
Yeah.
less." Yeah, that's another step. And then keeping track of things when you come back from a trip that you didn't use.
Okay. I like
And
that.
over time, you'll see patterns as well of what types of things are just extras. Yeah.
Yep. Interesting.
Mhm.
How are you able, you personally, because obviously you're an expert in this, how are you able to pack super light and still have everything you need?
Um, yeah, it's a great question.
Thank you.
um, yeah, it comes, through a lot of trial and error,
Mm,
obviously, over the years. Like, my packing light journey took me to get to the point where I was like, okay, I can go off in a handbag for 3 weeks. It took me like 8 years
yeah.
on my own, going on trips and just taking a little less every time. And then it was
Mhm.
like, nope, all right, yeah, 8 years. So it took me a
Wow.
long time.
That's still impressive that
But
you can do a handbag for 3 weeks, though.
yeah,
That's
it's pretty,
impressive.
but once you're so close, I'm
I
telling you,
am, I
you're
am.
like, you're so close. You can do it too. Um, it's just about identifying, getting really clear again on what is essential to me. What are the things that matter on my trip? Is it having all these extra little bits and pieces that I have to carry around and manage? Or is it that, um, I'm just feeling free? I need that free feeling. But yeah, it's just identifying what's essential and what's not. And you'll be surprised if you actually get down to it. It doesn't take much to keep you safe and
To
happy,
keep you
and
going.
you know yeah, it's
Yeah.
very, very little. And obviously I've also I my travel wardrobe, like, I've invested in merino wool clothing and also bamboo clothing, which is just so great for travel. It makes it so much easier to pack light and not worry about, like, I don't know, is my shirt going to smell bad if I wear it again? That
Mhm.
sort of thing. Yeah, or will my clothing be dry in the morning if I wash it? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's the biggest thing with me too is, am I gonna have access to laundry? That's what I look at, and, like,
Mm,
if I am, it makes me not feel as much pressure to overpack because I know I can bring 4 or 5 shirts for 2 weeks and it'll be just fine. So having
yep.
and you actually segued perfectly into my next question, which is
Oh, okay.
what areas to focus on to build a really good minimal wardrobe? Because obviously I think clothing is a big hurdle for a lot of people to get over, and that's, like I said, mine as well. So what are some things that people can do to kind of build up a minimal yet very effective wardrobe?
Yeah, well, the first one I recommend looking into is the fabric of your clothing. If you can, I will never shut up about merino wool clothing. I think it is the best thing for travelers. And I mean, I wear it every day. I'm wearing merino right now, this shirt. So I love it so much. And if you can invest in clothing that is made of fabrics that are quick drying or that naturally need to be laundered less, like
Mhm.
merino, you can rewear those items and it's totally fine. Like, you're not going to smell bad.
Right, we've all done
and
it.
if you and if you need to wash it, they dry very quickly. So quick
Mhm,
drying clothing, and natural fabrics like merino or bamboo. Bamboo, it does take longer to dry when you wash it, but you don't have to launder it as often, and it's a natural fabric and it also feels good. So many benefits. So that's the first. Look at the fabrics of your clothing. And then layers again, like, everyone talks about layers, but pack with layers in mind always.
mhm,
I never pack anything that is super bulky, or, even in winter, I will bring lighter layers and just layer them up and layer them down depending on the weather. I don't, I, yeah, I cannot talk enough about these two things. Really, like, it's so important. And then when you can layer clothing, you can also create more outfit variations,
mhm.
outfit looks and combos from fewer items. It's, yeah, magical. And then versatility of the items that you bring as well, super important. So Think about things that you can use in different situations, like a
Mhm.
black merino wool t-shirt. You might be able to dress it up. You might be able to wear it while working out. There's so many, different, ways that you can use one thing in different situations. Like a solid black merino wool t-shirt can be worn basically anytime. You can dress it up, you can wear it for sightseeing, you can layer it with other items, you can wear it while working out or hiking. Just making sure that there is versatility. And you can look at, convertible clothing, reversible clothing as well. If you can add something like that in to the
All right. So before we wrap up, would you mind just telling our listeners where we can find you on social media and the internet?
Yeah, you can find me at herpackinglist.com and Her Packing List on Instagram and on YouTube as well. And if you're interested in learning how to pack ultralight, I do run a live masterclass called Baggage Freedom Express, and the wait list is open. You can join me at herpackinglist.com/freedom.
Perfect. And listeners, we will have links to all of that in the episode description just to make it as easy as possible.
That's all for this episode. If you'd like more Away She Goes in your life, make sure to stop by girlswhotravel.org/podcast. That's where you can fill out a form if you're interested in being a guest on the show. You can also write to us at awayshegoesgwt@gmail.com or leave us a message on our Google voicemail from any phone or computer at 1-563-503-6323. To follow our adventures, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm at Carly Sees the World. Carly is spelled Carli.
You can also follow me at Sophia AEZ, Sophia with a PH. Away She Goes is part of Girls Who Travel, a community dedicated to radically redefining travel to be inclusive, sustainable, and empowering. You can learn more about GWT, find travel tips and support, shop travel themed items made by GWT members, and join our Facebook group with nearly 100,000 women all around the world at girlswhotravel.org. We can't wait to connect and explore with you. Away she goes.